What if we lived in a simulation? How would we know? Since the dawn of thought, humanity has wrestled with a haunting question. What is reality? We trust our senses. We trust the world around us. But what if all of it, the air, the earth, the stars, was an illusion? Imagine for a moment that you are not a person of flesh and blood, but a line of code, your life unfolding in a grand digital script. It sounds like science fiction, the kind of story whispered in dark theaters, or painted in the neon green glow of movies like The Matrix. But in recent years, the idea that our universe might be a simulation has crossed from entertainment into philosophy, physics, and even serious scientific debate. Nobel Prize-winning scientists, Silicon Valley visionaries, and philosophers alike ask, if our world is code, how would we ever know? Would there be glitches, boundaries, evidence hidden in the laws of physics? Or are we doomed never to escape the illusion? Tonight, we dive into the simulation hypothesis, its logic, its clues, and its consequences. And by the end, you might never look at your world the same way again. The simulation hypothesis begins not with philosophy, but with technology. Consider how far we have come in less than a single lifetime. A century ago, humanity was still adjusting to the miracle of the airplane. The idea of personal computers, immersive 3D games, or virtual reality headsets would have been unimaginable. Yet here we are, creating digital landscapes so vivid that people can lose themselves inside them. Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford University, formalized this into what is now known as the simulation argument. He laid it out simply. If it is possible to simulate reality, and if advanced civilizations have reasons to run such simulations, then the number of simulated worlds would vastly outnumber the one true reality. If that's the case, statistically speaking, the odds are high that we are already inside one of those simulations. The logic is unsettling. Imagine a civilization thousands or even millions of years more advanced than ours. They might possess computing power so vast it dwarfs anything we can imagine. With such power, simulating not just individual people but entire histories, entire planets, even entire galaxies would be trivial. They could run countless versions of Earth, some to study history, others for entertainment, perhaps even simulations within simulations. But this is where the thought experiment takes a darker turn. If advanced civilizations create simulations, then for every real world, there could be billions of simulated ones. That means the chance of you being in the original base reality is almost zero. Physics itself seems to play along with this idea. In a video game, the environment doesn't need to be fully rendered at once. It only needs to exist where the player looks. Likewise, in our universe, quantum mechanics behaves in mysterious ways. Particles exist in many possible states until they are observed, at which point they collapse into a definite reality. Some scientists see this as suspiciously similar to a computer saving resources by rendering only what is necessary. Then there's the speed of light. In our universe, nothing can travel faster than 299,792 kilometers per second. Why? Why such a hard, unbreakable limit? Perhaps it's not a universal truth, but a constraint of processing speed, the maximum refresh rate of the simulation. Skeptics argue that this is stretching metaphors too far, but others point to the eerie parallels between physics and computation. The universe, at its most fundamental level, appears to be digital. Energy comes in quanta. Matter is made of discrete particles. Even space and time may be quantized, pixelated like the screen you are watching right now. If you zoomed in far enough, would you find the pixels of reality? Already, researchers are attempting to test this. Some experiments in particle physics are designed to see if the universe has a smallest unit of space, a resolution limit, like the pixels in a photograph. If such a limit exists, it could be the telltale sign of a programmed world. And then there is the question of consciousness. Could something as rich and profound as the human mind be simulated? Skeptics say no. The spark of awareness cannot be reduced to code. Yet, every thought, every feeling, every dream is connected to neurons firing in patterns. If the brain is biology running on electrical signals, then in theory, it can be replicated. Already, we build artificial intelligences that mimic decision-making, conversation, even creativity. Scale this up, and perhaps you could simulate not just a mind, but billions of them. If that's true, then what are we? Characters in someone else's computer? Experiments in digital consciousness? Or just lines of code that believe they are alive? The case for simulation is chilling because it doesn't require faith. It requires only logic. If advanced civilizations exist, and if they run simulations, then the odds are not in favor of this being the base reality. If we are simulated, surely there must be signs. Just as games glitch, programs crash, and code reveals itself, perhaps reality has already shown us its cracks. One of the most famous cultural references is déjà vu, that uncanny feeling that you have lived a moment before. In The Matrix, it is portrayed as a glitch, evidence of the system adjusting itself. Of course, neuroscience has its explanations, but still, the resemblance is eerie. Could some of our most mysterious mental phenomena be small errors in the simulation's code? Mathematics, too, raises suspicion. Everywhere we look, nature speaks in numbers. The spirals of galaxies, the pattern of sunflower seeds, the hexagons of honeycombs. The Fibonacci sequence appears again and again, as if reality itself were built on algorithms. Is this the beauty of mathematics, or the architecture of a program? Consider also the limits of human knowledge. We cannot see beyond the observable universe. We cannot know what lies outside the cosmic horizon. It is as if we live in a game world where the edges are shrouded in fog, preventing the player from wandering too far. The Big Bang itself raises questions. Was it the ultimate act of creation, or simply the moment our simulation was turned on? The instant the code began to run? Then there are the constants of physics, unchanging, universal numbers like the speed of light, Planck's constant, and the gravitational constant. They appear fine-tuned for life. If they were even slightly different, stars could not form, planets would not exist, life would be impossible. Some argue this is evidence of design. But whose design? A divine creator? Or a programmer selecting values for a simulated world? Even stranger, modern physics occasionally stumbles into mysteries that sound like programming errors. In quantum mechanics, particles can be entangled, instantly affecting each other over vast distances. It violates our understanding of space and time. To some, it looks like data being updated simultaneously across the system. No wires, no travel, just a variable changed everywhere at once. Attempts to detect the resolution of the universe add fuel to the fire. Some researchers suggest cosmic rays, particles from deep space, might scatter in ways that reveal an underlying grid, like pixels in a screen. If we find such a grid, it could be the proof that reality is not smooth but digital, a lattice holding everything in place. But perhaps the most unsettling sign is our own drive to simulate. Already, we create virtual worlds populated by AI. Imagine 100 years from now, or 1,000. Our descendants may run simulations of their ancestors. You, me, entire histories replayed countless times. If we are on the path to building simulations, then How can we be sure we are not already inside one? The skeptic asks, if we are simulated, why haven't we noticed? But perhaps that is the brilliance of the design. A good simulation does not reveal itself. Or perhaps it cannot allow us to know. If someone inside a video game began to question the reality of their world, the game could simply adapt, adjusting the code, erasing the evidence. This brings us to a terrifying possibility. What if the simulation is designed to prevent discovery? What if, every time we get close to uncovering the truth, the system rewrites itself, hiding the cracks? In that case, the very act of searching ensures we never succeed. Suppose, for a moment, that tomorrow, scientists prove it. They release irrefutable evidence that we live in a simulation. How would humanity react? For some, it would be devastating. Religions would face existential crises. If our world is coded, who is the programmer? Are they gods or scientists? Do they care about us, or are we just data points in an experiment? For centuries, humanity has turned to the heavens for meaning. But what if the heavens are only code? For others, the revelation would change nothing. Pain would still hurt. Love would still warm the heart. A simulated meal still satisfies hunger. If experiences feel real, then they are real to us, regardless of what underlies them. But society would not remain untouched. Governments might seek to control the narrative, fearing panic. Some would claim the discovery as proof of divine order, others as proof of human insignificance. Wars could even erupt, not for land or resources, but for the interpretation of reality itself. There is also the question of free will. If we are in a simulation, do our choices matter? Or are we scripted like characters in a story? Philosophers debate this endlessly, but perhaps the answer lies in perspective. Even if our lives are coded, the illusion of choice is indistinguishable from choice itself. Whether fate or freedom, we live as though our decisions are ours. The scariest possibility is the end. Simulations can be shut down. Programs can be deleted. If our reality is running on some cosmic server, then one day, without warning, it could end. No apocalypse, no fire, no judgment. Just darkness. A click of a button, and it's over. Would we notice? Or would it be instant, eternal silence? And yet, perhaps that is not something to fear. After all, we already live with the knowledge that life is fragile, that the universe itself will one day end. Whether by heat, death, or shutdown, everything has its limits. The question is not how long the program runs, but what we do while it runs. So, are we living in a simulation? The truth may forever elude us. Perhaps we are lines of code in a cosmic experiment. Perhaps we are flesh and blood in a true universe. Or perhaps the distinction does not matter. Because whether simulated or not, life feels real. We laugh, we cry, we dream. We love and we lose. We create meaning not from what reality is made of, but from how we live it. And maybe that is the most powerful thought of all. Even if we are simulations, our stories, our choices, our lives still matter. So the question is not simply, are we in a simulation? The question is, what will you do with the time you have, real or simulated? What do you think? Are we living in a simulation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more What If stories every week.